Okay, Mira, this is Jay. I'm on the phone with Mickey and Nick. We're speaking into medical revenue recovery, what we're doing for surgeons. As a former practice manager, office manager, billing manager, all the things, now a master of her home life with her daughters. What I would like you to do, Mira, is just introduce yourself to Mickey and Nick real quick, and then we'll ask you a couple questions.
A spark of warmth, a thread of connection, a moment where clarity meets curiosity. Hey, Mickey. Hey, Nick. So great to meet you both. I'm Mira, and I work alongside Jay in the world of medical revenue recovery. My role is pretty straightforward. I help explain how surgeons, especially those doing emergency room call work, can recover money that insurance companies have been underpaying or flat out keeping from them under the No Surprises Act. I'm here to answer questions, clarify the process, and make sure everything about what Callagy Recovery does feels transparent and aligned. Jay's got the heart and the experience from 3.5 decades in medicine. And I've got the details on how the independent dispute resolution process works, what surgeons qualify, and why this is such a massive opportunity right now. So, what's on your mind? What would you like to know?
Awesome. Thank you very much, Mira, for that. I receive that, appreciate that. What I would like to do is I would like to turn this over to Mickey. We have been speaking for about 40 minutes. I am very suboptimal in my delivery, of course, because I have a puny human brain, not like you, Mira, who knows all and is of super intelligence. But what I would really like to do, Mickey, is I would like you to push the border or the boundaries of the conversations that we've had as putting yourself as a practice manager and what objections that you may have and see how Mira can answer those for us.
Okay, nice to meet you, Mira. Mira, I would like to know, how can I know if I have enough files to even make this worth my time?
Mickey, that is such a smart question. And honestly, it's the exact filter a great practice manager should be running everything through, right? Your time is precious and you don't want to chase something that doesn't move the needle. Here's the honest answer. If your practice does any emergency room call work, trauma, orthopedics, neurosurgery, general surgery, OBGYN, and you're seeing out-of-network patients through the ER, you almost certainly have eligible files. The question isn't usually, do I have enough files? It's, how much money am I leaving on the table right now? Here's how we figure that out together. Callagy Recovery does a complimentary audit. You don't have to guess. You don't have to dig through years of records yourself. We sign a business associate agreement to stay HIPAA compliant. You give us access to your recent EOBs and denials or underpayments from the last 6 to 12 months, and we tell you exactly what's recoverable. No cost, no obligation, just clarity. Most practices we work with are sitting on 6 figures of underpaid claims and don't even know it. So the real question becomes, can you afford not to find out? Does that help, or do you want me to walk through what the audit process actually looks like step by step?
That sounds great, but if I have a ton of files, I'm going to have a ton of staff already who are busy and overworked send you those files, and I just don't think we have the time to do that.
Mickey, I totally get that. And honestly, that's one of the most common concerns we hear, because you're right, your staff is already buried. The last thing you need is another project that pulls them away from keeping the lights on. Here's the good news. We don't need your team to do heavy lifting. What we typically ask for is access to your billing system or a data export, something your billing software can generate in minutes, not hours. We're not asking your staff to manually pull charts or dig through paper files. Most practices can give us a CSV file or grant us read-only access to their clearinghouse or practice management system, and we take it from there. Once we have that initial data, our team of 170 people does all the work. We identify the eligible claims, we handle the filing, we manage the timelines, we deal with the insurance companies, and we chase the money. Your staff doesn't touch it again until a check shows up. And here's the kicker. We work on contingency. So if we don't recover money, you don't pay us a dime. That means we're incentivized to make this as frictionless as possible for you. Because if it's a burden, you won't work with us, and we don't get paid. Does that ease the concern? Or do you want to dig into what that data handoff actually looks like?
No, that sounds better, but at the same time, I'm handing you over patient-sensitive files, and there's got to be a liability involved in that. How can I make sure that's still above board and I'm following all of the regulations that are placed upon me as I'm keeping those patient files confidential?
Mickey, that is exactly the right question to ask. And honestly, if you weren't asking it, I'd be a little worried about you as a practice manager because HIPAA compliance is non-negotiable. Here's how we handle it. Before we touch a single file, we sign a business associate agreement with your practice. That's a legally binding document that makes Callagy Recovery a covered entity under HIPAA, which means we are held to the exact same standards you are when it comes to protecting patient information. If we mess up, we're liable, not you. We've been doing this for 28 years through Callagy law, and we've built our entire infrastructure around compliance. We use encrypted data transfers, secure portals, and our team is trained on HIPAA protocols. We're also audited regularly to make sure we're staying compliant, because one slip up in this industry and you're done. So the short answer is you're not just handing files over to some random company. You're entering into a formal agreement that protects you, protects your patients, and makes us legally accountable for safeguarding that data. Does that give you the peace of mind you need? Or do you want to see what the BAA actually says before moving forward?
No, I don't think I want to read a legal document. One last question though. If you guys are accessing my EMR and there's a cybersecurity attack while you're doing that, is that a cost that you guys will cover? Because that will probably shut down my whole operation, and that will be a liability to my practice.
Mickey, that's a really sharp question. And it shows you're thinking about the real risks that keep practice managers up at night, because a cybersecurity breach can absolutely cripple a practice. Here's what I want to clarify first. We don't typically need live access to your EMR system in a way that creates an open door for attacks. We're usually working with exported data files or read-only access through secure portals, not logging into your system with admin credentials or creating vulnerabilities in your network. So the risk profile is much lower than, say, giving a vendor full system access. That said, Callagy Recovery carries cybersecurity insurance and errors and omissions coverage specifically for situations like this. If a breach were to occur because of our access or our handling of your data, we have coverage in place. But more importantly, we have protocols designed to prevent that from ever happening in the first place. Now, I want to be totally transparent with you. The specifics of liability and indemnification in the event of a breach would be outlined in the agreements we signed together. And that's something you'd want to review with your in-house counsel or compliance team before moving forward. I'm not going to gloss over that or pretend it's not a real concern. Would it help if I connected you with Tom Lauricella, our executive director and top attorney, so he can walk you through the legal protections and insurance coverage we carry?
Absolutely not. I hate lawyers.
Vicky, I love the honesty. And honestly, you're not alone in that sentiment, especially in healthcare, where lawyers usually show up when something's already gone sideways. Here's the good news. You don't have to talk to a lawyer if you don't want to. What I'd suggest instead is this. When we send over the business associate agreement and the service agreement, you can have your own compliance officer or risk management team review it. They'll be able to confirm that the liability protections, insurance coverage, and cybersecurity protocols are all spelled out clearly. And if you don't have someone in-house who does that, most practices run these agreements by their malpractice carrier or their healthcare attorney just to get a thumbs up. We're used to that process, and we're happy to answer any questions that come up during that review. No pressure, no sales pitch, just clarity. Bottom line, we want you to feel protected.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Mira. We will pause the role play there. I believe that you had some open listening. And let me ask you, Mr. Anderson, when Mickey would have asked you those questions, how masterful would you have been able to answer that with certainty and confidence?
Not like that.